Okay, it's early morning here, and the first thing I want to talk about is the silver price and what they're doing with silver. They're smashing it down, smashing it down. They've got a way with smashing the price down for a long time now, but this time things are different, and the reason why is because we're so close to the crisis that they brought up that they're going to bring on. And silver is something to really watch. I'm going to tell you because ultimately this crisis that they're encouraging uh, and that they've been encouraging, silver has been dwindling in the world. The actual physical silver supply inventories have been actually dwindling over the years. And I personally believe that China has been supporting the physical silver inventory supplies, actually keeping the supplies up. I think that when people buy silver like at ATMEX and they buy themselves some Eagles, what they're actually doing is they're getting Chinese silver that's been in Chinese vaults for centuries, that's been resmelted into the Eagles. And the Chinese have been supporting this, and the reason why is because they want to get all the gold. They want to clear all the gold out of the West into the East. And when the West doesn't give them any more gold, the game's over because they're not going to supply the silver market. I was a little bit, I'm not going to say, they've deceived us an awful lot in the mainstream media, and J.P. Morgan is used to mainstream media. They wanted us to think that he had 550 or something million ounces, J.P. Morgan did, in their vaults of physical silver. Why they wanted us to think that, I don't know. I've been doing some digging into it, and I don't think he's got near that much. I think that he probably only has maybe 30 million ounces, or maybe 70 million ounces at the most. The figures are saying 78 million, but those figures are possibly, a lot of that is SLV, and a lot of that is paper silver, not really the real physical. How much real physical has he got? This is all hype. This stuff, he's got 306. He's got 500 million ounces. It's all hype. That's what I've found out in the past while, and I'm kind of upset about it that they've given us this whole big bunch of BS. Anyway, here's the thing. Let me move these charts on here a little bit and expand this. And, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so they've smacked silver down. Look. Through these wires. Let's see if we can see that. Way down here today. That little green bar. See? 50 below 1550. 1547 this morning. Isn't that awful? And so the thing is if they continue this stuff, smacking it down, I'm going to give you an illustration of what's going to happen if they continue doing this. Picture if you were in a big city like, I don't know, maybe Atlanta, Georgia, and they had a whole bunch of different grocery stores all across town in a whole big county there, and they had, in those grocery stores, each grocery store had a nice big supply of canned milk. So they had an aisle where you go to buy your canned milk, and you go to the section where the canned milk is, and they might have 1,000 cans of canned milk in there. In every grocery store, all across the whole region. So you could drive a mile across town, and there'd be another grocery store, and they'd have a big inventory of canned milk. And they all had all this canned milk. And say the canned milk price was $1.25 across the whole region. All these different grocery stores, all their canned milk was, it might vary a little bit. It might be, instead of $1.25, one store it might be $1.29. Next store it might be $1.18 or whatever, But it was in that price range of around $1.25 or so, And say all of a sudden, all the stores across the whole region started to get into some sort of a pricing war with canned milk. and each store kept putting it on sale, cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, across the whole region. So say first you noticed that Walmart was on sale for $1. And then all of a sudden you looked at, I don't know what stores they have, maybe in around Atlanta, maybe Kroger's or something. And you go to Kroger's, and it's like 89 cents. You go to the next store, it's like 79 cents. And so all these stores keep putting canned milk on sale, lower and lower and lower. Every day you go in, and the next day you go in, it's 69 cents. Right? And you start to get to this thinking in your head to yourself. You start to say, gee, canned milk just keeps getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper because there's this price war going on. And they're artificially manipulating the price down lower and lower in all these stores for canned milk. And you take it for granted after a while that canned milk's going to be always cheap like that. And that it's always going to be available. The stores are always going to have lots of canned milk in there, right? And price is going to keep going lower and lower and lower. Every time you go into the store, you see it 69 cents, 59 cents. And after a while, you start to wonder to yourself, how low can this go? 49 cents, 39-cent canned milk. Now, I'm going to ask you, what's going to happen? And the canned milk is down to 39 cents, and all of a sudden some store across town opens it up for 29 cents. What's going to happen as it keeps going lower and lower and lower? I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. All of a sudden, like that, you're going to go to the stores, there's going to be no canned milk underneath the shelves. Because once it hits a certain price point, it's called a price point, the people out there are all going to come in, and they're all going to take what's left. And they're going to do it so fast, boom. Maybe, I don't know what that price point would be, maybe 29 cents for canned milk or something. But you're going to go in the next day for canned milk. You're going to see, oh, this new store's got for 29. You're going to go in and open no canned milk. Go to all the other stores around town, no canned milk. It's all gone. The people will have hoarded it all. Overnight, boom, gone. Some woman will come in, that normally don't, and she'll buy 2,000 cans of the stuff because it's so cheap. Maybe she's thinking she's going to resell it or whatever. It's just going to hit that certain price point. Right? Now, what's been happening is the wages, everything has been inflating over the years. The only one thing that's been not inflating is silver price. Going down cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. It doesn't make any sense. In the end, it'll be so cheap that it'll just pay these companies, instead of buying steel to make their houses with, they'll just buy silver bars if it keeps going lower and lower and the price of steel keeps going up. Or maybe copper. Maybe if the price of copper keeps going up, or some of these other base metals, and the price of silver keeps coming down, in the end they'll just go build a house with the stuff. It's just going to all disappear like that. So let the price keep going down lower and lower. Because when she disappears, it's going to trigger something. It's going to trigger something then. It's going to trigger a real honest-to-goodness silver shortage, and then the price is going to start to shoot up when that silver shortage comes. And that silver shortage has to come because they're going to break this. They're going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. They're going to kill it. This thing is on life support right now. They're going to kill it. It's going to die. And when it dies, it's going to die suddenly. You're not going to see it coming. If you haven't got any, you're not going to see it coming. And then the price is going to shoot in the opposite direction. So that's what's going on with silver. They're going to kill it. They're going to kill this game. I can see the game's coming to an end. So now I want to talk about Bitcoin just a little bit. Take a look at this. If you can see this. Now, up here, what we have is we have Bitcoin. Oh, this is a long-term chart. This is your big up there, 28.89. Of course, I'm going with BTC. I always go with BTCE. Now, what you see in here is a consolidation, and it's been consolidating for a while. This is no crash or anything like that. This is just a consolidate. These waves keep getting symmetrically smaller. Now, what you notice here is you notice that the action of the this has been dropping off. The quantity sold has been dropping off right here. See, it slowly declined. If I put a piece of paper on it right here, you can see there's the angle of the decline of that right there. See? Now, and here's the point right here. It's finding, like, if you see this line I'm drawing right here, it's the price movement, and it's been consolidating. See? Consolidating roughly in around this area right here. Well, she's going to go in one of two directions. I think I know which way it's going to go. I think she's going to go up, but she's going to go in one of two directions. She's not going to continue this consolidating on this line for very long. Bitcoin just doesn't operate that way. It's not going to stay at that price point for very long. It's going to either move up or down. But I think we're looking at, I think this whole thing, we're looking at a little speed bump and a little bit on movement on the way up again. I think she's still on her way up. I don't think this whole thing's over yet. That's my opinion on that. And so, now we're going to move to the dollar index real quick, the US dollar. We're going to talk about it for a minute. This is, the 1 month chart, US dollar index from, Bloomberg. She's at 96 this morning. I'm anticipating a little bit of a move, still upwards with the dollar. I think she's gonna, come up not quite to 100, over the next little while, or the next few months. I think that after we're gonna see the dollar precipitously fall later, but that's coming later. I think that, the dollar is actually, I think, going to strengthen a little bit first before it finally gives in. And we're going to take a look at one more graph, and this is the Canadian dollar. And this graph is a 5-year chart of the Canadian dollar. And when this chart goes down, the price of the Canadian dollar goes up. And when this chart goes up, the Canadian dollar goes down. So you see the United States dollar was really riding high right in here in 2016, and you can see that it's been starting to slope off. So if we put a piece of paper on it, we can see when it rolled over right there, and look, there's your angle right there. See? But I'm expecting there's been, if you put this line on a different line, you could go like this. Right here, which is a slope upwards. But I'm expecting a little bounce right here, and I think that we're on this line right here, this trajectory. So I think a little bounce right here on the end. It's going to bounce back a little bit. So in other words, the Canadian dollar is going to weaken probably to around 95 cents. Right now it's at 97, and then I expect it to fall in after a little bit of one more little bounce back with the American dollar. That's what I'm kind of expecting before the American dollar really rolls over. You know, I'm expecting we could have a little bit of a deflation, a very short-lived deflationary spike, an event that brings a deflationary spike, and this event would trigger the Fed to go back under monetary policies. And this event would be very severe, be very short-lived though, in the financial system. I call it a deflationary spike event because it's just like almost like that silver flash crash we had. Didn't last very long. That little quick one we had, the silver, zoom down and zoom back up again. That's makes like a spike, the shape of a spike. And so that's why I call it a deflationary spike event. And this would trigger, maybe only last a few weeks, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and the Fed would go back on everything. Because if they don't, it'd be something similar to 2008, and that was a deflationary spike event. And you see the hubbub it caused, you know. So this one would probably be even more severe within the financial system. A partial meltdown of the derivatives out there, and there's tremendous derivatives exposure, you know, in the system. And so I'm expecting that. I'm expecting a deflationary spike event of some sort that could actually happen in the very near future. And then that would trigger the Fed to go back on their monetary policies. Big time, open the floodgates to money. And when they do that, that's when everything's going to take off. All the commodity prices and everything's going to take off. And that is when we're going to have economic recovery. After they turn these monetary policies back around again and open the floodgates of money. They've been tightening. And you're never going to have a stimulated actual recovery as long as they're tightening. Tightening and recovery those two words don't go together. You'll get your recovery. And this will be an honest to goodness economic recovery. But that's going to be the beginning of the real trouble, the hyperinflation. Because that's when your inflation's going to run away. And there's going to be no stopping. It's going to be a runaway train. And so that's what's coming. And, it's going to take a trigger event to bring them in and make them quit with what and they're going to keep going until they get this trigger event. I mean, okay, say they don't get it when I think they're going to get it, which is probably this fall. Say for some miraculous reason they're able to not get their deflationary event. Then they'll keep raising rates until they get it. They won't stop. They don't know when to quit. Because they're a bunch of Keynesians and they just they're academics and they just don't understand the way the financial system works, and they'll keep tightening until they trigger it. So if they don't, say by some miracle they can get past 2%, raising interest rates to 2%, say by some miracle they get past 2%, they'll keep going for 3, for 4, for 5, for 6. They'll keep going until they bust it. You know, it's kind of like some guy driving his car down the highway and he's going to keep going faster and faster. Remember like some of these motorcycle guys. You ever seen them? You know, they're on these bullet bikes. They call them bullet bikes. They're leaning forward and they're like behind the handlebars like that. And they just keep going faster and faster, weaving in tighter and tighter in traffic, coming closer and closer to the cars they're passing at a higher and higher rate of speed. And they don't know when to quit. They just, 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. The first thing you know, they're going 110 miles an hour. And they're coming as close as they can to the fender. The cars are weaving in around. They'll just keep going until they make the mistake and boom, boom, boom. That's it. They're picking them up. Traffic's all stopped and you're wondering what's going on here, you know. And there's a bunch of ambulances and stuff and you drive by and they're all hosing off the highway. Because these guys don't know when to quit. When I was younger, there was a guy who lived in our town and he had one of these little ultralight airplanes. And he just didn't know when to quit. And what he was doing was he was dive bombing the ground with the thing. And he just didn't know when to quit. And all of a sudden one day he come too close to the ground and a bolt broke on the wing and he rammed into the ground and killed himself. So that's just the way with the Fed. They don't know when to quit. They're going to keep going until they bust the system. So you don't have to worry. They will bring on this deflationary spike event that I'm talking about. If not now, if not sooner, they'll bring it on later. I have faith in the Fed's stupidity. I have total faith in the Fed's stupidity. I have faith in their stupidity. So I know that they can do it. Because I have faith in them. So listen, thank you very much for listening, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.